Come here. Ew. You should come over. Yeah? No. Oh. Blackwall, bring him over here.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the EDM Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Element, and with me again this week is Darkovika and Fabled Mercenary.
Hi!
Hello.
We're off to a great start this week.
Beautiful start. I am very happy with it.
皆さん、私たちのポッドキャストへようこそ。今日のエピソードは A Mile High。よろしくお願いします。
You say Mile High?
Mile High.
Yes, that's the name of the episode.
I heard Mile High, like the Mile High Club, but never mind. Got it. Okay.
I have something to say too.
Go ahead.
私がこのケーキを破壊する.
Very good.
That's it.
She will destroy the cake.
For those of you who do not speak Japanese, I said, everyone, welcome to our podcast. Today's episode, A Mile High. And Darkovika said that she's going to destroy this cake. I guess it's an imaginary cake. Unless she has a cake in front of her.
In front of me. I suppose those are cake. Technically. I legit have like Rice Krispie treats in front of me, and I could destroy them in seconds.
Oh, an additional message. この番組は Mountain Dew ご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
I wish.
We all wish we were sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. I don't know. Actually, I don't really drink a lot of Mountain Dew.
Neither do I. But
I
one of
used
my
to drink a lot.
one of my vape flavors is Mountain Dew. To be honest, surprisingly.
I agree. It's really delicious, but then you like drink a lot of it, and you sit there and just feel really ill.
I know a guy who drinks like a liter at least every 2 days back at Target I used to work at.
Jeez.
Yeah, you never saw him without his Mountain Dew at lunch, and I was just like, man, that's got to be a record somewhere.
That's disturbing.
That is just disturbing. How it goes.
Oh man, so yeah, episode 2. It's called A Mile High. Today's episode, we're gonna be talking about the high concept. And if you don't know what that means, you can Google
El Googet. Yep, there we go. El Googet.
It's basically.
Google it for anyone who doesn't know.
And if you don't want to Google it, I'll just say that it's a couple of sentences about a game idea that you have. Primarily, it would go hand in hand with like a pitch. It's not necessarily a pitch,
But it can work really well as a pitch.
yeah.
What I read was that it can be anywhere between 1 to 6 sentences, although you generally want to keep it to a maximum of 3. And it's not exactly explaining the whole game, just the premise. So you're not opening with like, you are this old woman who is 60 years old living on a hill. No, that's not how it is.
Yeah. But we will go into further detail, obviously, because we like to go on tangents.
Oh, yes. EDM podcast, also known as Tangent, the podcast.
Or Tangent Cast, I think would be quicker and easier to say.
Tancast.
Tangent?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we just moved it
Tangent
to a tangent.
Example.
So before we get to that, what's up? What are you guys doing this week? What have you been doing this week?
I've been working a lot on math. I've been studying numbers as represented by computers. So learning how to concatenate strings based off of binary and stuff like that.
Oh, you lost me.
Okay. So I can take in a series of binary numbers and concatenate them or add them together as if they were an actual number, and then I can output it as the number that it would be, and I can also, this was what I was learning this week, so spending a lot of time on like basic computer background stuff that we don't generally work with anymore. I can translate it into hexadecimal with code, and it's pretty cool. I just finished learning how to write like prime factor code. Brent was helping me with that today.
Yeah, I saw some of that stuff on Facebook. Mm-hmm. That's the stuff that I answered Squirrel Shovel to, right?
Yes. Yes. Perfect name for our weird language. Squirrel Shovel.
And I guess you, well, as evidenced by your YouTube channel, you were also continued playing Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yes. Yes, I have. I've played lots of Ori and the Blind Forest. And Dragon Age Inquisition.
Like, I know, I watched the videos, but for some reason, I still don't know what it's about.
Ori and the Blind Forest?
Yeah.
You're basically playing an orphaned lemur monkey. Lemur ferret monkey. And you're trying to basically bring life back to this forest. Like, the beginning was ridiculously painfully sad. The first 5 minutes, it was very The Last of Us. It just hits you with a train of feels, and there wasn't even any words, really. The music is fantastic. The whole premise is just, it keeps throwing harder and harder shit at you. Every time you get an ability, you're like, yes, I got an ability! No, this game's about to get really hard. So, yeah, it's, like I said, the basic premise is that you're wandering around in this forest trying to bring it back to life by taking away the taint that this crazy owl creature has brought.
You know, if taken out of context, taking away the taint sounds really dirty.
What? Oh.
I think
Kevin's laughing so hard he killed his microphone.
Yeah.
Well, I was just listening, and all I heard was just take away the taint, and I was just like, I'm not gonna laugh at that because it's not in that context. And then you mentioned it, so I'm just like, wow. Huh.
Yeah, Peter went there.
All right.
Or I mean,
Somebody
Element went there. Fuck ever.
Oh.
We're just throwing aliases out the window at this point.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I think that was since the first one, really. I mean,
Yeah, it was like, we're gonna call each other by our aliases, and then that never happened.
I think the voices are distinct enough for people to know who belongs to who. I mean,
I hope so.
Come on. You don't think that I
I might be
sometimes sound like Darkovika?
I was gonna say.
yeah,
I
was like,
might be, mistaken for Squeebs over there. Mercenary.
what? Yeah, I was like, they don't know the Squeebs one. That's all.
I couldn't remember your actual. Well, I couldn't remember your actual handle. All I could see was Captain Squeebs in front of my face, and I was like, shoot.
Oh man, now I just think it's been a whole mistake to just go with Mercenary at this point.
Should have
like
just called
it.
him Squeebs.
I got a cool logo for it. I'm gonna leave it. I like it.
Mercenary Squeebs.
Yeah, explain that. What is pay now, play later?
Huh? It's two different things on there, and basically it was like, I'm going to get paid first before I start playing.
Oh, I thought it was like a dodge to like gamers. Pay now, but don't play until later. It was throwing me for a loop. Yeah.
If we analyze that further, I mean, technically it's true. We buy something and then we have to play it later because we have to install it.
Unless you're one of those people who like to, torrent things and all that fun stuff. But yeah,
Well, still got to install it.
Yeah, we don't talk about those
Installing.
nefarious activities on this podcast.
We do not stand for torrenting.
Yeah,
Or
we do not
any-
condone or suggest doing so.
I don't know if you guys are serious or not, but I definitely don't. I actually, unfortunately, pay for a lot of crap. I don't have money for it, but
I honestly thought you were going to go off and be like, you know what, yeah, honestly, but I do.
But I did.
let's be realistic here. I mean, I actually don't. I don't. Surprisingly, don't do any of it.
I'm so paranoid, I couldn't torrent if I wanted to.
don't believe you almost, actually.
I can't. I'm so paranoid. I'm so scared of viruses because when I was younger, I had my PC and I had my Mac laptop, and I would go on this streaming site and listen to music on my laptop, and my laptop was fine. It would handle it like nothing. But my PC kept getting viruses like no other, except I didn't know it was because of this streaming site. The only places I went to were like YouTube and freaking Gaia Online and that streaming site. And eventually I realized that the reason all of these viruses and files and just horrible stuff that I was super afraid to click existed on my computer was because of this website. My brother had to like wipe my computer. It was absolutely awful. So I have had some nightmarish experiences with viruses, so I don't torrent.
I almost want to ask, what did you see? But like me being like, I've cleaned people's computers before, and I know the kind of things that
pop up on there. Yeah, it was bad. I had to disconnect my Wi-Fi from my computer because it was a plug. It didn't have Wi-Fi built in because it kept opening sites, and it was just like hardcore doesn't even begin to explain.
Holy shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Too much information.
So, I mean, it was
moving
just... So there you go. That's why Darkovika does not torrent. Or stream.
Well, at this point, everyone knows hardcore is part of the equation now.
Part of the what?
The equation.
pretty self-explanatory. If you don't know, you've been living under a rock at this point.
Well, yes. So, yeah, there you go.
Oh, man. What about you, Squeebs?
What I've been doing? What is the Squeebs thing?
I'm so sorry. I made the same mistake as Darkovika, and I was looking at...
It's because it's right there in front of you. Mercenary is not. Squeebs is.
All right, listen.
Right there in front of... What are you staring at the
EDM podcast thing?
The actual chat thing. Okay, see, I don't stare at that while we're talking. I'm actually, like, doing other stuff, so I figure, like...
I have curse in the background. I'll stare at that because it says Fabled Mercenary.
Why do you have curse in the background?
I don't. I never uninstalled it.
It's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant.
All right, for those listening, his official name will be Mercenary, but you know, nickname will obviously refer to each other as other names.
Yeah.
As evidenced by like our old episode or our previous episode. And
I should probably
explain. He's strong with us.
Squeebs comes from the word squibs, which is like this little thing they use in film to make like sparks and stuff on cars and when you see gunshots and stuff. And when the teacher said squibs, I heard squeebs and I said it and someone laughed and they're just like, no, he said squibs. So that's where I got the nickname Squeebs from. And I, being me, put Captain in front of it while playing, Battlefield. So I'm like, Captain Squeebs. So it's an unused gamer tag because I was too lazy to pay $10 or too cheap, not too lazy to pay $10.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's where it comes from.
Don't they use? Isn't that like what those things are called? The blood squibs.
The blood.
Yeah,
squibs?
exactly. There's blood squibs, and there's like ones for sparks as well. Like squib is an actual, like I said, it's a film thing. So it actually comes from something. It's something that came up and it's like a weird name, but it's it's stuck. So that's, if you guys are wondering why people keep calling me Squeebs, that is why.
the captain part is irrelevant.
Yeah.
The captain part's completely irrelevant. That was just me.
That was just you adding a twist?
Yeah, it's just I tend to put captain in front of any nickname I have just so it sounds better, I suppose. I don't know.
Well, now that we got it.
It's interesting that he says squibs because if I do believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that's also the name of people born into a magical family that have no magic in the Harry Potter universe. So, squib.
Don't know.
Isn't that Muggle?
No, that's not a Muggle. That's a person who has absolutely no magic, but a squib is like slightly different. They have like magical aptitude, but absolutely they can't do magic. Like they test into magic and they can like use a wand and stuff, but like they just can't produce any magic. It's really weird and the line is really gray. And it's like what makes them not a Muggle? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't know how to better explain it because it's been a really long time since I read the 7 books through.
So, okay, so is Hermione a squib or is
No, she's a brilliant witch. She can do perfect magic. She would be considered a mudblood. which is not a polite thing to say in normal society. It's a person who's a witch or wizard born to a muggle family. So, like, there's no sign of magic at all, but you wouldn't call them a mudblood to their face. That would be terrible. But yeah, that would be, I guess, the derogatory term. Slur.
Well,
Okay.
So a squib is just someone, like, a pure magic family. So, like, someone who is supposed to be a pure blood, basically, and then just didn't have the ability to do magic. And they got sent to school because everyone was like, oh, they're magic. And then it turned out somewhere down the line. Like Filch. Filch was a squib.
oh, isn't that like the
He was the
caretaker
evil guy with the cat, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mrs. Norris. Chuck Norris.
guy? All right, well. Now that
Usually they have a lot of, like, cats that are, like, really high aptitude for, like, intelligence. Because there's another squib who had, like, 7 cats.
Well, now that we've gotten that tangent out of the way and established what Squeebs is,
There we go.
what have you been doing, Squeebs?
Sheesh. Well, I've been taking 3 animation, which is boring as all get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering out there, I prefer
Frame
design.
by frame.
I hate animation with a passion. I respect it and anyone in animation, but I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I respect all the different traits out there in the game industry. You know, there's a lot of things out there that people can do that look at and go, "That's freaking awesome." But if you ask me to do it, I'm gonna look at you cross-eyed and be like, "I'm gonna go take a nap instead." Like, certain things I don't want to do, I'll admit. I mean, I'll learn them. You know, I'll learn all I can. But if you ask me if I want to do it, I will, you know, upright and politely tell you no. You know, and just kind of take my lead. Other than that, I've been working with it's not a 2D side scroller, but it's a side scroller in UE4 and diving into
Nice.
blueprints and other funsy stuff like that.
Dude, just leave the blueprints behind. Don't do them. They're nightmare.
Well, I mean, I kind of have to.
No, you can learn programming for C#. Okay, blueprints are not necessary. I can link you. Brent linked me to, like, the documentation for Unreal Engine 4, and they were like, blueprints are not meant to be used. They are meant to outline code that will then be taken into C# or C++.
Wow.
I see.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
I was just in. Well, I wasn't just in, but last week in my Portfolio 2 class, Johnny was talking to somebody about using UE4 and how the industry is going, like, primarily back to UE4 because of blueprints. And I was, like, sitting there trying not to interject because I know
They're so...
that that's not the case at all.
No, I would be shocked if they were having people, like, use blueprints. Blueprints are great and they do work, but they cause a lot of problems, and they do have things that hold them back. Like, just like Kismet did, although Kismet was far worse. Blueprints can't handle everything. Literally, you would just be better off doing it in C++. I learned this last quarter because I assumed that, I don't know why I assumed this, I don't know where I heard it, but we were only working in Blueprint for the project, and after 11 weeks of working in Blueprint, like, oh my gosh, you have to work around so much because it refuses to accept stuff. And then there's certain things that aren't even finished in Blueprint. Widgets are, like, they're great and they would be so useful. Like, I remember when I first opened a widget, I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. 5 minutes later, I was like, this is the most frustrating thing I've ever worked with, because half of the stuff wasn't recognized. I couldn't pass it to another blueprint. I had to do everything within that code, and like 2 hours of work went down the drain, and I had to redo everything in a project that was supposed to be done in 11 weeks because it was a quarter project. That was ridiculous. It was such a waste of time. And just such a massive workaround.
I mean, I think blueprints are exactly what they're called. They're blueprints.
Exactly. There you go. They're just supposed to map out what you're looking for, or what you're aiming to achieve.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I didn't know that. First of all, that's kind of interesting to know.
I think
I
if
kind
you're
of rather enjoyed working in blueprints, which is the ironic thing to listen.
They were fun in the beginning. I will agree. You were fun in the beginning.
I mean, but for the sake of, the time constraints, pure class, though, it is something I have to go into because undertaking C# would be a whole nother thing in itself. I would assume just doing game prototyping with the games will needs to be 10% done. So, I mean, I'm just making Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Through a,
That's totally fine. I have blueprints for something that's only 10% done. Yeah, rock it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty simple for what I'm doing, which is why I'm going into it. But I mean, shoot.
Also, you're not a programmer, so it's like.
Exactly. I mean, I was gonna make that. I don't program. I don't try to. I mean, I might look at things here and there because, like, I find a lot of that stuff interesting. Because I've done when I was younger, I've been working with computers since I was like 5, I think. My grandfather and my uncles and all that. That's their forte. So it's not like it's anything different for me or out of the ordinary. So, but I mean, yeah, that's what I've been pretty much doing. It's schoolwork, working on stuff like that. Taking this creative nonfiction class, another writing class, basically to kind of dive a little bit more into writing techniques, all that fun stuff. I wouldn't call it a really fun class, but it's definitely interesting. The guy is a very enthusiastic individual, and so much so that he foams at the mouth when he talks. And I mean that literally. That's not a metaphor. That is literal.
Oh
I
my
am being
goodness.
literal. It is weird. He's great, but it freaks me out that he does that and he doesn't notice it sometimes. And I'm like, look, bro, as much as I enjoy you speaking, you gotta wipe your mouth, man, 'cause it's freaking me out.
You gotta back that up.
You should just like come in with like
An umbrella.
wipes or something and just kind of yeah, or an umbrella. Go Darkovika's route and be a little bit more confrontational with it.
Umbrella. I mean, yeah, but as far as that other than that goes, I've been still playing Fallout 3. I got started playing the Operation Anchorage DLC for those who played the game, and I'm freaking like, during the beginning, I'm all like, oh, this is freaking awesome. I'm like stealth killing people with 9, silenced pistol, and then my computer crashes. So after that, I am now moving everything over to my new laptop that you guys have seen me purchase and all that fun stuff. So
Nice.
I haven't seen you purchase it.
I mentioned it quite a few times. I thought I did. Is it on Facebook? It might not be on Facebook. It's supposed to be on Facebook.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be. Like my images of me being in the ER, it was like they came like 2 days late and everyone's freaking out. I'm like, guys, I'm at home now.
Cuba safe. On the Cuba safe.
Go ahead and tweet that out on your new account.
That's right, guys. Mercenary got a Twitter account. Now we just we'll make him like a Cuba safe page.
A what?
It's Facebook backwards.
Who does that?
She does that.
What?
Was
Okay.
it Cuba safe?
Cuba safe. Facebook.
No, I have been known to reverse words, but like the selective process in which you choose which words to reverse is classic.
Gosh.
Because we can't like tell what it is until you spell it out.
I know. That's the point. That's why I choose those words.
I don't even.
Like, here's another one. Uranus Rem.
Wait, what?
Uranus Rem.
Saran wrap?
Uranus?
Mercenary.
Oh my
Oh my god.
Uranus Rem.
Actually, Akivocrad sounds better.
What?
Akivocrad.
Akivocrad?
Yes.
What is that one?
It's yours.
Darkovika. You mean Akivocrad?
Yeah, you can say
Technically, it would be let's see. Akivocrad. Because it's Darkovika. Akivocrad.
I don't think I care about the pronunciation.
I'm sorry, I think way too much about this stuff.
Clearly.
All right,
Like,
so
on
how
a
would
daily basis, I'll be walking around and I'll see a word and I'll like flip it and then like stand there trying to really accurately say it backwards so that if someone played it, it would sound perfectly like the word.
all right? Well, how do you say mine?
Element?
Yes.
Tenemala.
It sounds like that song. I don't know if you guys know this song. It's like Rafflemau.
Rafflemout? Yeah.
I forget who.
Rafflecopter.
She said Rafflecopter. Oh.
Do you know that song?
Yes, I do. It's
Like,
or wasn't that the band? Rafflemout? Wasn't that the name of the band?
No. There's a band called LMFAO, but
Oh, there we go. Then no, I don't. I'm thinking of the wrong one.
it's a World of Warcraft type of like music video where the guy just says Rafflemout. Do 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 do.
Leroy Jenkins.
And so when you said that, Tanamale, I was like, Tanamale. Do 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 do.
So the show,
Yeah.
I would point that out a little bit, but you know.
Yeah, we took that Zweihanda and went on a tangent with it.
Oh, yes. Oh, dropping the word.
Yeah, I don't think Squeebs was paying attention to the comment section,
No.
so he's not prepared.
Someone asked us to say the word Zweihanda.
Oh, you guys used the word.
Yeah, we used the word. See, you
I
guys
didn't-
got to post words. We read them comments, yo. Post crazy words. We'll say them. Probably incorrectly. Well, Element will say it correctly, and I'll say it incorrectly.
And I will
depends
butcher
on
it
what it
in
is.
Avon next, so.
Ebonics.
Oh, no.
You know, one of these days I'm gonna like do an intro where it's completely Ebonics, and I'm just gonna laugh and watch you guys not understand what I just said.
I don't even. How is that? Is that something you can just switch into?
It takes a minute if you. I'm not gonna lie, and it's not insulting for those who only speak Ebonics, but once you take an English class for the first time and actually pay attention, it is rather difficult to just switch into talking that way. But when I go home, like to Mississippi, or when I speak with like my older brother, because he doesn't speak like it, but he speaks similar to it, it instantly switches on. It's like an accent that you don't like voluntarily turn off. It's the craziest thing ever. But like if someone speaks to me like that, I can completely understand them for the entire time. Like,
See, that's so. This is gonna sound stupid, but that's so interesting to me because I love dialects and I love accents and I love dictation. So I have no idea what Ebonics sounds like. As you know.
it's so different when you hear someone speak like that, because like it's a slang term for the way that people speak like that. Basically, it's a slang term itself. But I literally went to a friend of mine's house, and I don't have any black friends, I'll admit. So I went to one of his house, right? It was a girl, and her whole family was there, and she brought her white friends over, so they were girls as well. So I'm hanging out. It's me, their brothers,
Like 50-year-olds.
They're a variety of age. I think no one was older than 30, but there was just variety of her siblings there, right? And she had her white friends in there, and it's not a racial thing. It's just really funny because the ethnicities do make a difference, because white people they're not going to speak that. It takes a lot. It's just plain and simple. So we're sitting there, and the brother is talking, and he says the most grotesque thing I've ever heard someone say.
Oh,
but
no.
The two girls had no idea what he was saying, and I couldn't help but laugh because I can understand them, and they're like, what is he saying? And I'm just like, to translate, it would be awkward for me, because what he was basically doing was describing him having sex with one of them on like their dinner table, but sideways. And I was just like, what do you mean sideways, first of all?
Translate that.
And I looked at her and looked at him just like, I don't want to translate that, because for me it's just awkward. And everyone's laughing with all the dark people.
I don't know. Maybe they were sideways, and not the table.
The table.
Or
Yes,
table.
I don't know if he meant the table or them. It was vague. Like, it was like, what do you
I'm gonna
mean?
take you sideways.
And I was just like, what? And there's a tricycle in there, and I was all kind of confused.
I never thought I would hear Darkovika say
It
that.
was a very, very, yeah.
I'm just picturing Boomhauer in my head, like tricycle.
Yes,
Table.
that is actually very, very close to it. Yes, it's like having a friend like Boomhauer. That is actually a very good way to explain it. It's really bizarre, but like that is like my worst memory of being with people who only speak that way, and it's just like there's a reason why I prefer just to speak regular plain
That's
English.
awesome.
And it's such a grotesque story, and I'll admit, like, I'll only visit them one time. After that, I was like, okay, never again, because that's a bit much, even for me. Like, it's just out of the park, and it's just weird. But yeah, it's again tangent because the show.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
I was
That's
just
okay.
about to say, guys, we're not gonna get over
Intensify
this
everything.
this whole
So
illness,
let's get
this
to the
symptom.
point of the show.
What is the point of the show?
Well,
Mile High.
today's show was the high concept and introducing that, and I know we're supposed to present kind of like our own
High
example of
concept.
a high concept. Yeah.
I wanted to make a suggestion about you should probably start using Unity as a designer,
Right.
because Unity is like the designer
super
and the
powerful.
programmer's like
Dream.
dream.
It's their
And
wet
UE
dream.
Yeah, and UE4 is like the environment artist's dream because of how graphically powerful it is.
Yes.
But in terms of designer tools and world building tools and kind of seamless integration with scripts and programming, you can't go wrong with Unity. And I think you should start there.
I mean, I have it installed. I just, for the sake of this class, I just want to kind of be able to ease and just kind of get it done. Because so when we do UE4, because I do have used UE4 enough to know how to just darn the stuff in there. But then again, learning Unity is just like the same thing, only going to help that kind of. So yeah, that's you're probably right. You should probably do that.
Yep.
But
so I
mean,
think, yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say for the sake of that class, though, I'm probably gonna continue it. Because I've already built the pieces and started the map, and it's like the guy can run, he can double jump, he can sprint. So I might as well just keep it, finish it, and then probably later on just move it over to Unity anyway. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Last thing I've been doing this week is preparing myself to come out with another mod, this time for Skyrim, and it's all designer based. I'm not going to be retexturing or doing any artwork. We're going to be using basically what Skyrim already involves, and trying to, of course, as a designer, seamlessly create a story within a game and make it seem like it was built by the developers and not by some random guy from behind a computer.
Awesome.
Isn't it always a random guy behind a computer, though?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, there's a difference between the modders and then, like, the guys who actually write the game, So it's like, you want to, when people play it, they want to kind of seamlessly go into the quest, not knowing, oh my gosh, this was written by someone who doesn't work for Bethesda yet. And they get very strongly.
You want to move to Rockland, Maryland?
That one.
You say Rockland?
What is it?
I want to go live in Rockland.
They're based in Maryland.
Begin my rock farm.
Yeah, Rockland, Maryland, isn't it?
Oh, the city. Yeah, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yep, totally.
Damn.
Street games, Bethesda, right? Yeah, Bethesda. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, okay, I guess I'll go.
Awesome. Gotta follow up on that.
Hey, segues are like a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Kind of just
Not
have
with
to
this
go.
group.
This group kind of just organically goes.
Segways. We segue by
Segway.
existing.
We might as well just say segue and then just start talking.
There we go.
Segue.
Segue with the word segue.
I've just been working on my game, and Darkovika knows a thing or two about what's
Sprint
been going on
bars.
with that. Sprint
Yep.
bars, segues. I also got back into Hearthstone. If any of you guys have ever played that or tried to play that at all, or am I just getting silence?
No, I can't play It's not that I can't play. I've never played it.
Squeebs?
Ooh, can't play. What's the game called? I've been trying
Hearthstone?
to.
Was it?
Hearthstone. No, can't say I've played it. I've heard the name before. At the moment, I am very limited in the amount of games. I am late to the game industry and gaming in general. People didn't know. So I kind of have a large library of unplayed games that I'm trying to conquer. So that's why I stick to one game now and finish it and then keep moving through. A lot of them are older titles. I don't know if Hearthstone is recent or not.
It's-
Sounds older though.
It's been around for a bit.
Yeah, it's
Hearthstone,
fairly
Hearthstone.
recent. It's fairly recent. It's a card.
Fairly recent.
It's a card game, but like the card table and all the cards and the deck is all virtual, in the game.
Okay.
But
Right.
it makes like if you've ever ventured into Magic the Gathering or any type of kind of card-based combat game, it makes it so simple, and it does all the math, and it does all like all the stuff for you, so that you like it basically keeps you within the bounds of the rules. Whereas if you play like Magic the Gathering, like with a real life friend, and then you kind of have to manage the game yourself, and then like if you want to play a card, you have to figure out whether or not you can play that, or if it's
built-in computer rules are kind of nice in that case. Yeah, because I can't tell you how many showdowns I've been in where, no, that is illegal, and then we both are like, well, then let's go to the website. And then normally it's, no, it's not legal, and I go, well, screw you.
It basically does everything for you. You know, so it draws for you, and then you just kind of look at the cards, what do they do, and then it basically tells you whether you can do something or not. And then when you do an attack phase, it does everything like kind of like all animated and stuff, and so it's all entertaining. But you guys should try it out. It's free, so there's no barrier of entry.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now. I might give it a shot there.
Last card game I ever played was Yu-Gi-Oh!
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 Jeez.
Segway.
Oh, come on. We all did it. We all said that at one point in our lives.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh. No, I haven't. You're the only one.
Judging by the way he just said that, yeah.
Well, the way you say Yu-Gi-Oh, like, I swear that was a middle school thing. Like, well, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh was really big when I was in middle school, so, like, we'd all run around being like, Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, that's not something I did.
Laugh just like that.
Yeah, that's exactly, because we were all, like, nerdy middle school kids. We were like,
I can imagine. Go on.
Darkovika, I hope to God you did not really laugh like that when you were younger. That is...
I hope she did.
That is beyond hideous.
I hope she did.
Like, no joke, I would probably look at you twice and just be like, alright, that's who I don't talk to for the rest of my life.
Oh, no. I was a bit of an ugly duckling, I won't lie.
I truly hope she did, because, like, if her laugh now looks like a Christmas tree, I can only imagine how that laugh looks.
I mean, like, it's just not look-wise, but just the sound of it, because I like to laugh, obviously. You know, I like to have a good time when I'm in class, outside. Laughing is kind of like my job if it's not game designing, right? And so when someone comes by and they've got a really just out there laugh, like, there's laughs that make me laugh, and there's laughs that make me stop laughing. Like, and that's one of the ones that make me stop laughing.
I don't know, you laughed pretty loud.
That's true, but I mean, like, if we're in person, because I knew you were impersonating, like, you know, child people or whatnot.
Child people?
You hear that, kids? You're people, too.
Child people, you know. Like, you know.
You guys should Google child people and see if it comes up with anything.
Elgoog?
Yes, Elgoog. Kiso safe or something, Kibo safe. Kuba safe?
Google safe? FSL Goog?
What? What?
Safe? Google safe backwards. FSL Goog.
You did that quick. That was quick.
That scares me. Like, that's dedication.
Yeah. It's like one of her, like, you know, those effects on a card. Like, speaking of card battle, like, trading card games, they have, like, these enchants or something.
Segway.
Yeah. We're gonna cut this out. I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna appreciate how honest and organic this podcast
Forward
is.
thinking or backward thinking.
What's the time? I
Phonics
mean,
thinking.
like, as much as I enjoy it, it's like people aren't going to want to listen if they're not getting the objective of the entire show. You know what I mean?
We're still only about 35 minutes in.
Oh wow, okay, well,
Perfect.
taking good time then. All right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, these tangents have a reason. First half of the podcast is us just sitting here going,
Well, I think our previous tangents have been longer because we were talking about like Oblivion and Skyrim and all of these.
gosh,
we could go off on those. Oh yeah.
So I mean,
Deserve tangents.
considering the talking
The
points
nature of our tangents.
yeah, it can go long or short. It doesn't really matter. And it's on the shorter side this time, so I guess we can move on unless you guys want to talk about something else.
Sit to Negna.
I got one.
What?
Wait, okay, Paul. What?
Sit to Nignat. Tangents.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
Or whether that's still something.
I'm sorry, I really don't. What are we doing?
Well, I'm just asking questions. That's all.
Right. Bye.
Sit to Nignat.
I wanted to. I've been on a craze because I don't know if anyone following games. Obviously, I'm completely just not going to pay attention to what you said. By the way, Monica,
I know.
I'm ignoring that. If you're wondering why I'm not responding, I'm ignoring
I figured that one out.
it.
It's
But,
normal attitude for people with the backwards speak.
Anyone who's probably played any kind of shooters or enjoys Star Wars, it's been like one heck of a week. If you guys have been like, I know news feeds on Facebook, Twitter accounts that I just joined, and other social media that I don't own, but like Battlefront and the whole slew of games have like started being announced. And I don't know if you guys have noticed or known this, but Bethesda has announced that they're actually going to have their own conference at E3 this year.
I'm going.
Wait, did you say Bethesda?
Yes.
Oh my god, that's
Yes.
the best. I'm gonna be going.
Are you
You're gonna
going? Well, I hear the conference though is limited. They're inviting people to get in, so it's not going to be you. If you're at E3, you just don't
Dang.
go. So they're actually doing it that way.
Maybe I'll overhear some stuff.
Yeah,
We can
but
always submit as EDM gaming podcast.
Oh.
hey, it's worth a shot.
We'd
I
need
haven't
some
did
pretty
anything yet.
legit recording stuff, though.
Yeah, we.
Please,
need
this
to
is legit,
get
all
one.
right?
With
It's
our
not
OBS.
This is as legit as it gets.
Until we have email
Segue.
that are like. Like I was saying.
Alright.
Yeah, but one of the bigger, like, I wouldn't say bigger, 'cause that's pretty huge. Bethesda, that's as big as it gets. But dialing back a little bit, Mankind Divided. Deus Ex, the original, being one of the forefront of the modern RPG, back in the day. Mankind Divided was coming out. That was announced, and I've been reading through the Game Informer, which had a surprise spread. I think 6 pages on that game alone, and it was pretty freaking cool.
People still read Game Informer?
I do. I like hard copy
used
stuff.
to.
I like magazines. I don't. They want you to opt for digital. I prefer the paper. I collect them.
I
have
want the
about
paper,
2 years
yeah.
worth of Game Informer still.
I used to read Game Pro.
Game Pro?
Oh,
Sounds
throwback.
amazing.
But yeah, I carry a magazine with me. I'm on the train and take a train a couple times, so I'll have it there, and I still read through them and stuff. But yeah, I just like I said, being late to for you guys it's probably obvious, but being late to the whole design thing and gaming in general, it's like for me to go back and have my mind open, because hanging around actual game developers for a while, you tend to start seeing things differently. And it was cool to go back and play through, which I've been doing since playing Human Revolution, and seeing all those told but untold stories that you have to actually look for, actually start, have a little bit of perception,
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, exactly. The color use of gold. I remember there was a mod that removed the whole, the gold gleam and everything, but that actually was a design choice, obviously design choice, but it had meaning to it. And there was everything they did, in games, everything they do has a meaning, otherwise pointless. But it was kind of cool to go and read these articles and actually play through and kind of start seeing stuff and then have it confirmed. And it's like having Mankind Divided come out now and seeing them actually push Human Revolution to new heights by updating the gunplay, and I don't think they're touching this stuff as much, because I don't think it needed to be. But I don't know, that's something I just wanted to mention, something very exciting I was looking at. I'm sitting here looking at my wallet, I can't pay for Mankind Divided plus Tom Clancy The Division and whatever the hell Bethesda comes out with, because we know I'm going to buy whatever it is with the collector's edition version plus a special edition,
Yep.
and a day one edition, and whatever else edition they come out with. Like, they might as well take my money. I have 8 copies of Oblivion,
it!
the anthology.
Throw
and
it at them.
It's just stupid, and I do have 8 copies.
Take
of
my
Oblivion.
wallet. Here's my bank account information, Bethesda.
Just clean me out and send me whatever you're gonna have.
Wow.
Hey man, Bethesda FTW. I mean,
Hey, you're not gonna get any objections from me on that front.
It's like hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I heard that they're going to be hiring for the summer in the next couple of months.
Who is? Oh, Bethesda.
Yeah.
I'm scared for when I eventually start looking for jobs, man.
Don't be.
I don't know. I mean,
You'll be fine.
yeah.
I know, but it's just the scariness of leaving behind the things that are comfortable and the things that you know for
Right.
the completely unknown. Also, the fact that I drive about as good as a 90-year-old woman.
Well, the thing you have to consider, Monica or Darkovika, is that things always fall into place. And
Whoa, we are getting deep here, man.
Wow, that was.
oh shit. You have to realize that
Oh. Okay.
as long as you have a vision of your path, you will always be okay.
Words of wisdom from Sitnemelin. Sitnemele.
Well, I'll add my words of wisdom just because it's something I'm currently going through. But enjoy the unknown. I actually am looking for a new job and have to move out by the end of this quarter, and I have no idea how that's going to end up. But I wouldn't be scared of it. I think it's like,
It's the next adventure.
yeah, exactly. I'm kind of just like, all right, I have to apply for jobs. I'm applying for jobs. I'm looking for places, so I'm looking. And
It's
whatever
the
happens,
idea that I'd
happens.
have to leave my current job, I guess. That stability is nice, even though it barely makes me stable. Like,
I guess for me it's a little easier because I wouldn't say I'm particularly stable. I live in school housing and I work for the school. That drives you nuts after a while, actually.
I can imagine.
It's like saying I like the stability of this four-legged table, but all of these legs are kind of uneven.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much. That is exactly what it is, because you're like, I don't want to try any other tables, because I know that at least I can get this one to work.
Yeah. Just prop it up on certain legs and it'll be okay.
I found out. All right, so here's the tip of the week. Ow, I just whacked my microphone. Here's the tip of the week. If your table is like crooked, like, you know, one of the legs seems shorter than the others, try turning it sideways. It's
Oh my.
probably the floor. Turn it diagonal and it'll be straight.
You know, if you live in California, it probably is the floor.
Yeah. Because, you know,
I'm perpetually tilted to the left a little bit because of how the ground is on where I live. So every time I'm like sitting still and not giving any resistance, I kind of just tilt a little bit and I just stay there. It's
I sit cross-legged, so there's always some sort of something holding
need
me steady.
Like a tangent button, so whenever you guys just start tangent, it just screams tangent really loud
Ring
and
the
high pitched.
tangent bell. Maybe we should get like a bell or something that's like tangent. I can pull out my my ocarina, but I'd have to be aware of the tangent.
You are now because it's about to go off on another tangent.
Perfect.
But I did want to say something to the effect of what you were saying about enjoy the unknown, because I've always been a firm believer in the fact that, like, if you surround yourself in the unknown, you ostensibly give yourself the ability to always be creative or original.
You're right.
Because if you're always surrounded by the unknown, then you don't know where you're
You
getting.
have to constantly change,
Yeah.
adapt. If you're constantly around things that you know that are safe and comfortable, then you can't grow. You can't adapt. And this is true, but that's what makes it so scary, is that the person that you might become is not the person it could be nowhere near the person that you are now.
But that's also, you don't know who you're supposed to be. So
Nope.
People
don't like the unknown.
Who you become could be exactly who you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't be scared of that.
Yeah. I can dig it.
So, segue.
Perfect.
Before we move on, I wanted to get your guys' your guys' thoughts on something that was released last week, but we couldn't get it to. Oh wait, no, not yeah. It was released last week, but we couldn't record at that time. But I want to talk about it
Okay.
for a few minutes. The Star Wars Force Awakens trailer.
Ah.
I
And the Batman
finally
versus
saw it all the way
Superman.
through.
What do you think? Like, I teared. It brought tears to my eyes.
I cared the most when I saw Han Solo and Chewbacca, and they were like, "We're home," and I was like, "All right, I'm in."
Yeah. So in the first few minutes when I was watching it, I kind of kept myself spry and just open-minded, and that's when the tear rolled down my face. Is when, Han started speaking, and that was the moment. That was the moment when I was in as well.
Yeah. It just felt like, all right, these are faces I know, these are faces I recognize, so now I'm in.
Yeah, especially since it's been 30 years.
Yeah.
We saw 4, 5, and 6, and then we got the original trilogy, and I don't want to go off on a tangent on those movies, but after so long, after 30 years, we finally get to continue the original trilogy, and that's
Maybe it's going to be a good thing. We don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit optimistic on it. You bit more so with movies than I am with games. Movies, I tend to go, okay, because they only have, a limited time to really make a, piece of work, as opposed to a game that get, 8+ hours to make you either like it or hate it. So I kind of go, all right, well, I'll see what they can do. And, yeah, I'm going to see it regardless, what the critics say, what reviews say. I'm going to see it and judge it for myself. And I'm optimistic. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty good. So, yeah, let's say I'm a little, I didn't shed any tears, but...
There was too much feels. How could you not have shed a tear?
Dude, the only time I can remember crying from a piece of media was watching the episode where French Prince of Bel-Air when his dad
Oh my
leaves.
God.
And when...
I didn't shed tears for Star Wars, but Fresh Prince...
Dude, that episode... Have you guys seen that episode? Come on, you've seen that episode where his dad's there and his dad actually leaves him. He has that last final scene.
Oh, and it was actually not even like what the script called for.
Exactly.
It was totally real, and then the cast getting up and hugging him was actually not even scripted either.
Exactly. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Completely crazy episode.
Yes.
It was this episode where he's all like, "Yeah, my dad left me. Like, why, man?" Like in the script, he was just supposed to be like, "Whatever," and get over it. But like in real life, Will Smith's dad had left him, or supposedly. Of course, I got all this off the internet, but
No, in real life, his dad was a good influence. He actually was. It was acting, but it wasn't scripted. He actually goes back and says, another freaking tangent, by the way.
yes.
He goes back and says that his father was in his life, was a heavy influence, but that scene was like seeing people go through that. 'Cause that's common in, minority. I'm a victim of that myself. We don't know that kind of, what that kind of weighs on you until you actually see that person who left, and when they come back, and when they leave, it's a whole nother, it's pretty terrible. But to see that, that's like the one time I cried. Plus seeing the ending of Mass Effect, not the ending of Mass Effect 3, but when Ashley gets hit by like the blown up Mako, and they say I love you, and she gets taken away because she's all bloody, and for like the 5th freaking time in the game, they take her on the freaking Normandy, and I have to run to the beam and get shot again and try to get it. That's the only time I cried.
I don't think my Ashley died.
My Ashley didn't die, but I mean, she. If you take her, when you're running towards the Citadel thingy when it's on Earth, I forget the actual name for that beam that they were using to get to the actual citadel from Earth, and the final scenes of Mass Effect 3. Your squad is running down the hill. It's like storming the beach of Normandy, kind of. You guys are trying to storm that tractor beam. I'm gonna call it portal. Call it a portal. And
You said Mass Effect 2 or 3?
3. And
I
Sovereign.
have nothing to give to this.
Yeah, Sovereign hits the. He shoots his beam again, and it fires and hits one traveling Mako next to you, and it blows up, and one of your squad mates gets, I wouldn't say hit by it, but they get caught in the blast. And for me, it was Ashley, who was my love interest, and takes me on the ship, and it was just that stupid. I didn't expect to cry. I was like, oh, here comes a cool scene. And I'm sitting here like tearing up. So I'm just like, I didn't realize how attached I was to this whole story I've been playing through, because I sat through and played through all 3 games in one summer. So I was like playing through a movie. Trust me, I did not leave my room for quite some time. My mother was disgusted. But,
Oh my gosh.
But
That follow-up, though.
right.
Yeah, I'm glad we established, that tearjerker.
Yeah. You're right. If you guys haven't played that, you should play it. It's amazing. when you have all the DLC, excuse me, if you don't have all the DLC, don't play Mass Effect at all. Yeah, just don't. It's yeah. But yeah. Anyway.
Perfect.
What do you
Moving
think
back
about
now.
that new Mass Effect that was announced?
So when they were showing the early artwork for it, I was at work and I made the noise I have queued as my gamegasm noise, and everyone got looked at me, and I was just like, "Don't judge." So that was my experience with that. I am trying not to think about it, because once they actually show gameplay, I'm going to literally lose my mind. Just like when they announced Fallout 4 or not Fallout 4 pretty much, but I'm going to say or Elder Scrolls 6, but I'm pretty sure it's Fallout 4.
Would you like to share with our audience the sound of the gamegasm?
No.
The Mercenary gamegasm?
Nope. Not going to happen.
Guess we'll have to wait, guys. One
Sorry,
day it'll
folks.
happen.
One day.
That's just going to have to be the air of mystery in which we keep in the dark, and you will never know.
Maybe here's what I'll do. One of these episodes, I will do it at random. That's what I'll do. And you guys will sit there and be like, "What the heck was that?" And I'll be like,
You just planned it right here and now.
I'm
That's
planning
not
it.
random.
Yeah, I'm planning to do it. I'm not gonna know when I'm going to do it.
He's randomly planned it, and technically, according to Brent, there is no such thing as random.
That's what I was referring to.
Because I'm supposed to know that. Burp.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, as a designer, you need to sit in some of his classes.
It's hella fascinating. He was an artist once. Is that joke above you guys? Above your heads?
Yeah.
Okay, the programmers, we all make jokes because originally Brent was an artist, an animator before he was a programmer. So we
That's
all go,
interesting.
he was an artist once.
The artist formerly known as Brent.
Yep.
That's interesting. Segue.
Segway! A cheese wedge.
Okay, so let's get back on track. Finally, because
Yep. Mile
this,
high.
this Shinkansen is going outside of Japan and veering off course. So we
It's
need
going
to
straight to the moon.
we need to rein it in.
Right.
So high concept. Who wants to go first?
I have mine open right in front of me.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so here is my high concept for a video game. You run a ghost hunting agency in which you rely on the help of several different religious officials to exorcise and hunt both demons and ghosts, but no one is aware that you're actually undead.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Reminds me of Murdered Soul. Is that game called?
Yes.
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Oh, Murdered Soul. I guess you get murdered, and then you're trying to solve your own murder as your ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds a lot like another game that I played once that's really old, but it was a super tedious game. I don't remember what it was called. You kept going into the past because someone was trying to murder you, and every time you were like, okay, now I've stopped my murderer, and then he would appear again and almost murder you and be like, damn it, now I gotta go even further back. And at one point you're in the 1300s, how has this stopped my murder?
Wow. Well, talk about the gameplay.
Okay, so the gameplay is basically you get taken to these locations where you have to figure out, first of all, if it's haunted. And then you have to figure out if it's what kind of spirit. So, like, it would be a little more in depth into mythology, technically, depending on the area that it takes place in, or maybe the people who own the house. So, like, belief systems would be involved. You'd have to hunt down what it is and then make a call on who your partner is. You call in from your agency. So you call in a specific person, and then you try and go through the case with that person, and hopefully you chose right. Each one might be successful, but, like, depending on if you chose the right person or not, it might be harder to succeed with one person than with another. And they might, you know, if you had the right person, like maybe you had a Catholic priest with you and it was a spiritual haunting, you needed an exorcism, or there was a possession or whatever, then it would go much easier and they'd notice signs and be able to tell you if you were to talk to them. And then, unfortunately, because you're undead, while you're trying to exorcise these spirits, you have to be careful not to get too close if you're near an exorcism or if you're near some kind of battling of the demon, because you might get destroyed in the process. But because you're undead, you're slowly unlocking abilities to become better at what you're doing.
This kind of like this kind of sounds like what we're working on.
Does it?
Almost.
Oh.
Not the fact that, I mean, obviously there's things that kind of
Parallels,
distinguish itself.
I've been
but
doing a lot of research on ghost hunting and reading.
It's definitely kind of like
On the forefront.
yeah, it's like straddling the line.
I've always been obsessed with paranormal stuff anyways. Like, I do tarot card readings. I do all sorts of crazy paranormal stuff.
What don't you do?
I'll have to get back to you on that one. Dance. There we go.
You don't
Okay,
dance? Really?
so you're
Not good at it.
with a partner. You have to call in a random partner.
Not a random, like, you have a list of people that you might be able to start recruiting as the game goes on. Like, say people are coming to your agency to work. Maybe they're better than the person that you have now. That's optional. That feels like too much. You have a group of people that you trust. Maybe they're story related. So as you continue, you get these people in your agency because you're gaining more fame. So you have more options to take onto the field.
Okay.
And nobody knows you're dead.
No one knows you're dead. No. So, like, you have to, like, keep it hidden and keep them from being suspicious or whatnot. Or maybe they, in the end, you find out that they knew and they're like, "We're here to help you," and you're like, "Yeah, nah, bruh."
Oh, we got a Sixth Sense twist.
Yeah. It was kind of inspired by Ghost Hunt, which is, like, one of my favorite animus.
Animus?
Enemy.
Sorry. It's like a YouTube joke. Whenever they talk about anime, they're always like, "Animu." They say, like, super, like, "Oh man, it's animu."
Enemy.
Yeah. But Ghost Hunt is one of my favorite anime. So, yeah. Anybody who knows of Ghost Hunt would immediately be able to make the parallels. It's on Netflix. I would suggest. It's very good. No, TV series.
Oh,
But it's done a little bit differently than other anime.
okay. Enemy.
So, what would be the key selling point to this?
The selling point?
Yeah, what would be a key selling point? Because the story seems,
Strong or whatever. Set.
yeah, the story is, it is what it is. But
The
how would
gameplay, I
you-
think. The gameplay would consist of, I guess, technically fights, but they're more not scripted. They're more of like events because you have to meet certain criteria in order to get these spirits out. If you mess up like in real life, then obviously you fail. So, like, if you need to cover areas with talismans that keep spirits from exiting, then you have to do that correctly. Obviously. If you decide to do something stupid like the Ouija board, I do not stand for Ouija boards. That shit's evil, yo. You do something stupid like that, you gotta be prepared to handle the consequences.
Interesting.
Okay.
What do you think, Squeebs?
I don't know. I haven't been able to dive into a lot of games. That I feel like that'd be one of those PlayStation in general, like exclusives, like if Heavy Rain, Murdered Soul.
Maybe. I wouldn't be very, like, I guess technically it would be a lot like Heavy Rain now that I think about it, but a lot more activities going on. Like, not so text-driven.
I meant more of the tone, not necessarily gameplay-wise. Just more of the tone and the way, because I feel like it would come from one of those types of stuff, which isn't a bad thing in any way. Just like I said, because I haven't actually been able to play those. I've just kind of watched the movie version on YouTube of those games because they're interesting. That's what they play as. It's kind of fun, but it'd be something else. I would definitely have to sit down. Like I wouldn't do it in the middle of a quarter while I'm in school. I feel like it'd be more worth sitting down and actually playing through and taking your time. It's not one of those games you kind of just rush through and be like,
oh yeah, no. I can't stand like instant gratification games.
Yeah, I can while I'm in school, but once I'm out of school, I kind of go, all right, look, where's the
break
meat?
time?
Yeah, where's the entree? Where's like I want to sit and do something here. So yeah, I can.
Yeah, I want to get involved. I don't want to be done with this in 4 hours. I want to get into this and be 32 hours knee deep. Shut up. Whatever.
It's not you. It's just us, right?
Yeah. I have to give. I guess I have to give the kind of like designer answer because it's intriguing. I think there's potential for cooperative element.
Definitely, I suppose. If you had two people moving around the house, you'd have to depend on each other to find something, because it's like each person has their own abilities. You have yours. They're just undead based. I couldn't decide if you were a zombie or if you were just straight up a spirit, like, possessing a body that may have been dead. So I guess, zombie.
Yeah. Well, I was referring to more or less like LAN play. Like if there's room for a whole team to get together and do a ghost hunting investigation, and each person is playing a different part of your team.
That would be really cool.
They're either online or on a different computer doing.
That would be that would be really interesting for an Amnesia type perspective for like mods, player created maps, and demons and spirits and stuff. That I would be all about. That way, in like each map, depending on the size of the map and the difficulty, it increases how many people you can bring in. So the max number of players.
Yeah.
Because if it was like a low risk, like easy mission, then you don't need a full team. That would be way too easy and a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm like imagining. I'm imagining like a full scale Ghost Adventures investigation with like. Four or five people connected via internet or just via LAN.
That'd be awesome.
And investigating different parts of the house, and you would have walkie-talkies where you could talk to each other in game. But like,
oh, dude, I just saw this shit move, bruh.
If you couldn't like talk through walkie-talkies, it would have proximity-based communication. So, could you imagine hearing one of your teammates like? On like the second floor on the other end of the house.
Start screaming.
Like, yeah. So you're like, dude, what the hell was that? No, that wasn't something that was engineered by the game. That was your teammate fucking screaming at something.
Exactly. I'd be all over that. Like, that would be perfect for co-op. But I hate games that are solely co-op. So, like, co-op would probably come later if this was a game that I ever made.
Yeah.
Right.
Co-op would come much later because I'd be like, you know what? This needs a game. And then I'm gonna give y'all co-op.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of organic experiences that don't happen as the game dictates. So, sounds good.
Totally.
What about you, Squeebs? What's your high
Segway.
Segway.
So, my high concept. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm pretty sure I wrote that down. I take notes. Don't worry. Anyway,
I'm telling you to take notes.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. and I didn't. So I'm going to look at the definition of premise here and just make it up. I'm just kidding. No, so the premise of my game, it's fairly simple. It's just you're the world's most renowned mercenary, and there's a price on your head. Now, that's simple and put because the idea of the game isn't to give you a drawn-out story. This entire week, I've been like on the move. You know, I've been going to and from San Diego County, which is like 2 hours by car, 4 hours by train, and I haven't really sat down. And I was like, it'd be nice to. I also was watching John Wick. If you guys haven't seen that movie,
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, right.
It's really good.
Yes, thank you. If you haven't seen John Wick and you're listening, watch the movie, and then watch Equilibrium, and then you're good for your life. That's it. Just watch those 2 movies. And
We'll save our recommendations for our closing statements.
right.
Awesome.
But anyway, back to the game, and it's a really short premise because the focus isn't the story. It wouldn't even be a AAA game. It'd be more of a AA, kind of a lower budget for sure. But the idea would be to push gunplay. I was playing a while back, played with Army of Two, Fallout, Mass Effect, all these games that involve use of weapons, and it's fairly simple. Even Battlefield, it's like you change your loadout and you fire your weapon. You know, the gun's still different, sure, but watching John Wick, I was like, wouldn't it be freaking cool to play a game where you could possibly maneuver like that? You know, and not in a sense of like like Blacklist, where you can, you know, you would indicate which targets you want, and then the computer just, you know, chooses what he's going to do, and he'll do these cool animations, and it's done. You know, it's cool, but it doesn't put you in the seat of Sam Fisher. It just kind of guides him. You're more of like you're more of his waypoint than you are actually Sam Fisher. And you know, so it's like, how would that be done? So I went to design into this. The premise, like I said, was really short, and the game would probably be short itself, but it'd be built off more of its DLC and its multiplayer. But my way of thinking would be kind of the way Assassin's Creed does its high-profile, low-profile actions.
Mm-hmm.
It would be everything you do in the game. You would use your pistol with, you know, if you like, say, if you've seen John Wick, almost every move he does, whether it's melee or not, involves him using a gun. So the idea would be
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert, he uses a pistol.
Spoilers.
I think it's like 72 headshots in that movie. Anyway, back to the actual game.
Right. Anyways.
Yeah.
Legends.
Like I said, I pretty much dove. I know that wasn't the idea of a high concept, but I dove really into getting how would you push. Because that's more of the pitch for the game, really. You know, like kind of games have that tagline. Where for this one, it's pushing gunplay to new heights, basically. And that's not very snazzy sounding, but it was more of a business thing when I was thinking about it. And it's more of like I said, using the Assassin's Creed system, high profile and low profile. If you haven't played Assassin's Creed, basically it's holding the right trigger for more brutal attack, or I think it's the left trigger for sneak, more, you know, silent maneuvers. I believe it's how it is. That might be Shadow of Mordor actually, but that's basically the case. And it didn't. Fighting games is a great example as well to put into this, how you would maneuver your characters. So basically, different combos would involve you know, using your gun, and of course, you know, any combo that ends with like the right trigger, he would fire his pistol or fire your weapon, and that'd be the execution. Using these modifiers with like the right bumpers, or like the R1 and R1 and L1s, would be those execution maneuvers like you see in John Wick, where he does like he freaking jumps on, he pretty much like monkeys onto the guy, spins him around, shoots his friends, and then when he hits the floor, shoots the guy point blank. Stuff like that. You know, if you got more targets, the animation picks up how many targets are in range of your current gun, and then when you're running and you're choosing to do a high-profile move, he maneuvers based on that. And you can also throw in kind of a kill system, but a kill move system like Skyrim is like, you know, a certain random animation is chosen.
Whoa there.
Chosen.
That was your mind, Monica, not us.
I was thinking Trojan Warhorse. Thank you very much. What were you thinking?
Oh, that was our mind. Never mind.
But yeah, so basically, if they're within a certain proximity, with certain conditions are met, certain kill moves will be presented to you when you hit like the combination of buttons you want to do. Like if I'm sprinting, that's one condition, and I'm getting ready to hit someone who's unknown to my position. Say I'm sprinting, I hit my heavy modifier or my high profile modifier, and I pull, let's say the right trigger to shoot. I pretty much would run. If someone's in front of him, I could jump on his back and then shoot the guy in front of him, and then execute him, point blank, something like that. And like I said, I'm no martial artist, so Tic Tac Window, but anyway, that's the point. I couldn't list you a bunch of awesome, combination martial arts moves involving guns until I've done my research and follow up on theories behind using guns for martial arts, because that's apparently a thing as well, which is kind of cool. But that's basically the core of the game. As far as the story plays out, just to shed some light on it, it's going to be pretty action movie stereotypical. Just because it's kind of like I kind of want to show kind of how like that I want to kind of show that stereotype of how action movies don't really ever have terribly gripping stories. I mean, John Wick itself loved the movie, but he pretty much goes on a rampage because they killed his dog after his wife died. That's basically the movie. Spoiler alert. Right? But I highly trust me.
Spoilers.
You forget the dog died until the very end. When I'm not going to spoil it that much, but yeah, so
it's
very well thought out.
It's a good way of thinking about your execution for that type of game, because a lot of times games try to do too much in too many places, and it comes off as very pretentious design wise. So if you're doing like a game in which the tagline is basically enhance gunplay or heighten or take gunplay to new heights, then you can take that idea and run with it, for 10 miles and not even have to worry about the story. It could just be some guy who wants to shoot people in very fancy ways.
I can shoot fancy.
You got a lot of finesse with that shot.
That would have to be a line in the game. Hey y'all, I can shoot fancy.
Darkovika, everybody.
Jeez.
So basically the gameplay revolves around combos and whatever you do in like whatever combos you do.
Yeah, it's basically the idea is to take that cinematic feel that you get in movies when you see like Christian Bale in Equilibrium or Keanu Reeves as John Wick, and even the Expendables. They don't use a lot of the melee in Expendables is great. Even the gunplay is you get the gunplay. The action in Expendables is also off the charts. But stuff like that, it's taking that cinematic feel, and instead of putting it on the rails when you hit one button and it becomes a quick time and you watch the cool thing on screen, you actually get to do it. And the idea behind using, because you could easily, do like maybe 2 buttons, press these 2 buttons and it does this. But I feel like with a combo, let's say if I'm fighting like 5 guys, right? They've got me surrounded and I'm beating the hell out of them, pistol whipping. And I feel like, the combo ends at a certain button or whatnot, and it will do a different animation. I feel like in a combat situation, giving the player that control, they can easily change the combo on the fly, do something different each time. That way, they actually feel like they got a handle on fighting with these weapons. Even though it's in the game, but that's the idea. We get to be these crazy characters. So I feel like the combo was kind of the best way to go at this point, because it gives that leeway to change on the fly, and go from high profile to low profile, or vice versa, or even just not shoot anyone but beat them with the gun by using freaking pistol whips all day. I don't know, but that's what I mean. But that's the main idea there, is to really just kind of, because sometimes you really do just want to just shoot somebody in the face. That's
heck
really
yes. It's very therapeutic.
You just want to plug the gun and just shoot them.
Now that you're talking about it in that way, it kind of brings me back to DC Universe Online. And if any of you've ever played it, which I'm guessing you have, which is amazing.
DC Universe Online.
Yeah.
The way that they structure their combo system is basically how I'm picturing how you're going about with yours. Because, for example, if you're playing like an acrobatic archer in DC Universe Online, you have melee moves, but your different combinations that you string together can cause you to do certain moves differently. So, like if you were to do 3 of one move consecutively, it would do one combo. But if you were to hold down the button at a certain point, you would kick them into the air, and then you could do press another button and then start shooting arrows into them while they're in the air. And there are other combo possibilities in that game where, you know, your fighting style changes up
Right.
depending on the combos you do, and it kind of has that flavor.
Yeah, I'd say that's actually a pretty good fit. For me, I was playing Warframe. It's an online. I guys have played Warframe before, but their melee system uses that as well. It's literally like the basic combo for most melee moves is just hit E 4 times, you know. But if it's like you can hit E twice and then pause and then hit it 2 more times after that, and he'll string together a different combination of moves.
Yeah.
And literally, as long as you keep hitting E and changing it up, he will chain together different combos. And that's basically it. Yeah, it's basically, and then to give it more of a you've learned or more of a feel of mastery once you get further into the game, obviously would incorporate more buttons than just hitting the right trigger or just hitting A or just hitting X or whatever.
Awesome.
So it'd be
Memory based or like
I mean,
smash B enough times?
I'd prefer memory based. I'd hate to have a button masher on our hands because then that just goes back to the person sitting there and just going, oh, I'm just gonna hit B and do all cool stuff. No,
It's much more fun to program anyway.
It would definitely be pushed more towards, you know, because that also pushes how you're gonna fight, like your fighting style. If you only know 3 combos, then, well, that's pretty much how your character's gonna look in the world. Like this guy, what he knows, he does very well, as opposed to a player who's mastered several and knows them by heart. And it's just like, my character does some crazy stuff. His reputation, this would be like the online community side of this. His reputation is known for doing some crazy stuff that no one's seen before. So it would definitely play like that. Like I said, the game would. I was thinking how you could do it multiplayer wise. It might be a little difficult, but with combos. But then again, you just incorporate a blocking system, a counter system, and you've got people literally fighting close range with these crazy gun playing characters. So it's a lot to play with there. But I think just focusing on the gameplay alone was kind of really cool. So I just kind of nabbed at that, and I was like, I like that itself because when I come home sometimes, literally just from work, I just want to shoot people, and all I have is Battlefield sometimes. So I'm like, I'll do that, but really, I just want to do something really cool. And the dog just barked and scared the hell out of me outside. But yeah, so that is my high concept.
That's a pretty good concept. It really does. It brings a lot to. If I'm gonna have a brain fart right now, holy shit!
Brain fart. Perfect.
It does a lot for gratification. For, you know, if you take, for example, somebody that's playing like you have your game, which is game A, and then another game, which is game B, in which you press quick time actions, and it performs that all for you. But in game A, which is Squeebs' game, like the gratification in which going through and remembering all of those combos and then seeing how much more dynamic your character plays out versus only knowing 2 combos or just kind of pressing one button and having a scripted event play out. It's definitely does a lot for that, I think. So good job.
Thank you. Woo. Yes.
So sounded awesome. Very well thought out. I was like, yeah, mine will probably have some talent trees and stuff, I'm sure. You're like, these are the types of abilities I'm going to have. This is how you're going to activate them. And I'm like, you know, probably some undead abilities. I'll think about that later.
Well, I'm very detail-oriented, so I kind of narrowed down on that one spot. So it's a little...
Well, prepare
yourself.
See
why I chose design over
art. Boy, here we go.
There we go. This guy.
Before I dive into my high concept, I need to know if any of you have watched Naruto.
Yes.
I've seen the first episode.
I've watched the first season.
Okay. That's all you need to know. This game is called Shinobi no Kuni, which basically means Ninja Country. And it's an online MMO. the Holy Trinity exists. You have your tank, healer, and DPS, because in Naruto you have your Irionin, which is the medical ninja, and then you have very offensive based ninjutsu, and then you have the ninjutsu that is revolved around absolute defense.
Okay.
And that's your Holy Trinity. Your Holy Trinity. Your tank is any ninja that specializes in barrier and absolute defense techniques. So he's not a damage sponge. He's a damage mitigator.
Cool. Sounds fancier.
And so, as a ninja, your whole point, or your whole your mission is to not get hit. Okay, so
Right.
whenever you do get hit, it's going to be massive, and it's going to be a huge
So
roll
realistic.
for the medical ninja to roll. Medical ninja to fill. A huge role for the medical ninja to fill. And so their techniques are going to be revolved around healing the team, obviously. And it's not going to be there's not going to be a lot of damage going around the team. It's everybody's going to realistically be dodging everything. Like, if you imagine
So reaction times.
yeah, if you imagine a normal online MMO where you have a tank and then he's just taking the brunt of all of the damage and everybody's just standing there and throwing out their DPS. In this case, the encounters will be spread out. So there is no aggro table. Everybody's gonna be attacking everybody, no matter what. And raids will be real time, meaning you won't go into a raid and pull the first mobs and then keep on pulling trash until you get to the encounter. No, as soon as you enter the base, the whole damn base
Arena
is alerted. Like it's like, realistically, if
Wouldn't
you
that be
were-
the opposite of a ninja, though? Like, you're trying to sneak into this area.
Well, yeah, obviously there's gonna be raids based around stealth, but they have ninja wars, right?
Okay. So you just kind of like walk in and be like, I have arrived. And everyone's like, ah, shit.
Basically, yeah, that's basically the idea. But but I'm trying to bridge the gap between like your stereotypical raid in which the boss stands there and just literally like, hey, look, it's a bunch of people invading my keep. I'm gonna stand here until they pull me.
Right.
So I wanted it to be a very organic experience. If you're gonna go in and raid something, everybody's gonna be fighting like microscopic battles and micromanaging their own battles. So you go in with 25 people, there's gonna be 4 or 5, maybe 10 battles going on. And you have all of your medical ninjas trying to keep everybody up, and then all of your barriers and absolute defense going out, and it's just every battle's going off in tandem, and there's no it's not like in this turn-based system.
Okay.
And the key selling point is that you do not do abilities. Now, do any of you have any question as to why?
So no abilities. Everything's just sort of dodging, hit, dodge, hit, dodge, hit.
I feel like abilities would be to
OP or too
no,
magical.
I wouldn't say OP, but I meant I feel like it would be to avoid the idea of using cooldown times, because I know if you're basically off Naruto, typically they can hit their moves as many times as they want to, as long as their body can sustain that amount of
Strength.
strain. I mean, other than that, I mean, I couldn't find another reason why you would take out abilities. I feel like that would just be, I usually go hand in hand with MMO, so I'm going to say that would be my answer. Why? My question. I just don't want your reason behind it, of course.
Okay, so this is probably the key selling point to this high concept, is that you don't do abilities, you do the actions required to do them. So, your hotbar on the bottom, which goes from like 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 or what have you, they're not going to have abilities, they're going to have hand signs. And each ability is going to require you.
So grimoire type status. You got to remember the hand signs. With the hand signs, you put them together. The faster you do them, obviously, the faster you get the move out.
Right.
And then, obviously, the more powerful ones have a lot more hand signs.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to remember all of them. I hate to make like a connection to Sword Art Online 2, but the fairy game, they had something similar to that.
I don't remember.
Well, that's because everybody kind of tries to forget about, you know, the second part to Sword Art Online, the fairy game, where everything they built with the first part of it was destroyed. Tentacle monsters. They had spells that the players had to memorize, and then each, like, the more powerful spells, I mean, you literally had to memorize it. It was not a case of, like, press, you know, this button and you would do it. They were literally going home and spending hours memorizing as many spells as they can, so that when they got to the battlefield, they were more useful, which was like probably the coolest concept about that whole part of season. I guess technically it's considered season 1. Everyone calls it like season 2.
Why?
For me, season 2 is GGO. So
GGO for Sword Art Online.
yeah,
What was GGO?
Gun Gale Online.
I don't know that one. Sword Art Online had the season 2 where like it goes back to Kirito and Asuna and all of them, except there's this new game out and it's like this fairy game and everybody's playing as fairies, and at first it was such a cool concept and then they fucking ruined everything. Literally every Japanese trope you could ever think of present in season quote-unquote 2. I mean, tentacle monsters, lots of those. It was bad. It was bad. But, like, the concepts that they had, for a game at least, were really cool. The whole point of the game was you were trying to get to the top of this tree. And, like, everyone was pretty much mages. The game was supposed to, like, counteract the fact that Sword Art Online, there were no mages. Ever. Everybody was melee classes. Sword Art, or the fairy game that I don't remember the name of because
Alfheim
season
Online.
2 is painful. Yep, there you go, Alfheim. Everyone was mages. But some mages were better than other mages. Based solely on their memory. They had to remember everything. That was a really long-winded way to explain that.
But I guess the difference would be is that you have to remember combinations of signs and not necessarily a lengthy spell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say for example, there's only 6 different signs, right? You would have to
There'd be a
weave.
specific combination. There's like a limited combination. There's a friggin' mountain of combinations, don't get me wrong, but it is a limited amount of combinations.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing to remember would be the order that they're
Yeah.
in. Because you might want to do like a simple kawarimi, which is basically a substitution technique, and put a log in place of yourself to kind of avoid getting hit with something.
Damage.
And then you would do, let's say, the sign of the tiger, snake, and
Bear.
whatever.
Cow.
Yeah, bear. Tiger, snake, and bear, but it was actually tiger, snake, and cow. And then you mess up that sign, and that's just, you get an entirely different spell. And sometimes it might work out for you, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the main premise of this ninja game is to put the emphasis on the techniques and performing the techniques as the ninjas would, instead of just pressing a button to do the ability. So instead of
That's awesome.
instead of Naruto, instead of pressing 2 to do a Rasengan, you would do the spell to summon your clones. You would do the signs to do your shadow clones, and then you would do the signs for him to start, summoning up the chakra. and then you would have it in your hand, and then you would manually throw it or hit someone with it with, mouse button, which is attack. And so I primarily picture everybody playing this game and just, I guess, becoming elitists. Because if you don't like if you become, let's say you're doing like this RP, right, and you want to be an Uchiha, and you suck at it. You are a bad Uchiha. You can't even like activate Sharingan. You just can't get that last sign or something.
These words go over my head, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's me.
Oh, you don't? Yeah, you only saw the first episode.
Yeah, and that was a long time ago, and I was like,
I want you to know, Darkovika, that when these things fall into place, but you can get the idea that you just get away from the whole. You have a bunch of buttons. You're just gonna sit there and start spamming each button in a rotation. Like if you were a DPS, you just stand there doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 until the boss is down. But
yep, so that it's like really not empty-headed, but you're like zoning out. Like, what am I gonna have for breakfast today?
Yeah, and so
he's dead.
And so it goes in tandem with how the encounters are going to be working out, which is very reactionary. And so you're not always standing there doing a rotation. You have to memorize the combinations of signs, and then you also have to determine which sign is best for which situation that comes forward.
All right.
So that's my high concept.
Awesome. Good end. Segue. No, I'm just kidding. That was really good. That was awesome.
Discuss it.
You guys put so much like detail into yours. It would be a really good multiplayer thing, I think. Like, it would be really good for multiplayer things, people working together, people screaming at each other.
Yeah,
I can picture it.
Is it MMO or multiplayer that were you thinking?
MMO.
Oh yeah, but definitely. So kind of like Elder Scrolls Online type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely thinking. I mean, to be honest with you, I jumped off the ninja bandwagon quite a while ago because everything was becoming ninjas. There's Assassin's Creed, there's the Ninja Gaiden fever, there's just ninjas everywhere, and I honestly got tired of ninjas. But with the idea, like exactly what you were thinking, because hitting the combinations, just like playing off of mine, you get that feel of I mastered something. And it's a game, yes, but like you're good because you are actually that good. You have to actually memorize. You turn that brain on, even if it's for a game, you're still a little bit more engaged than just hitting a button or hitting, two buttons to make your character do something, or holding down a button that charges and you hit like combo, like the Naruto games that are currently out. To do those moves, you just hit BBY, if I remember correctly. I would definitely play it because, like I said, you have that. You're watching that guy who sucks, and either they're not paying attention or they're just that terrible. And you're like, I'm going to kill you because I'm awesome. It's like you can own him right now,
Yep.
There's also a certain level of camaraderie too, like
exactly
with cooperative play, and the fact that like you can teach somebody how to do something that they don't know.
Exactly. You could shout over chat. You could be like, "Dude, 1131" or something.
Well, I mean,
because these skills aren't gated at all. So like, there's definitely like a talent tree to augment your crit percentage and your damage that you do or whatnot, and all of those little fancy like attribute boosts.
You do run the risk of like someone at a lower, like someone getting really high up and then learning all of the skills and then going back to level 1 and being like, all right, time to wreck shit because I know level 10's hand signs, or just going online and like having a page open there and cheating off of it.
Well, like I said, like you will have stats and you will have those things that determine how powerful you are. Like, just because you're a level 1 and you know how to do a Rasengan, which is basically Naruto's best move, it's not gonna be as powerful as if you were to be, as high of a level a ninja you need to be in order to know that move. Because while the abilities aren't gated in any way, you will, you know, through quests and through raids and stuff, you will obtain scrolls and forbidden techniques.
Right.
That you will learn these things in a more linear fashion, but I think
that'll also still find their way online.
Right, but I think while not gating them, there's still a way to make it fulfilling that they know it. Because, for example, if you look up the signs to do a summoning technique, and you're still level 1, and you do the signs, and your character does the animation, nothing comes up. Why? Because you don't have any contracts with any summons, and you don't have the power.
Okay,
to
that'd
do it.
be more interesting.
Like you can essentially do all of the signs and see some kind of reaction, but like at level 1, if you want to transform into a phoenix, you're gonna transform into like a blob of water on the floor. It's gonna show that you're too weak to do these spells. But like I said, it's not gated, and the whole idea behind that is that you're not restricted, but you're also not powerful enough to do these spells yet.
And I think
Okay, that makes sense. That makes it a lot cooler.
that's a pretty good way to go about it because
It's natural.
yeah, and you playing MMOs and you see these guys who run like they're high level, so they run the higher dungeons or whatnot, and it's like when you're starting over as let's say because people have more than one character and you're starting over and you see these guys doing these high dungeons and you're like, I know how to do this stuff, my character just isn't weak enough. But like if you happen to, because it's not gated, you find a contract with the summoning thing at a low level, and because you know the combo, it essentially does give you that like I could hit this on you and you wouldn't expect it because I'm such a low level ninja. And I think that also adds in in PvP that you're not expecting someone to be able to do something, but let's say if they did the necessary route as a lower level character to get it done, however that would work out, they could potentially if it's DBZ, hide your power level in a sense. You wouldn't know what to expect. You wouldn't just based on someone's level know that you're going to own them, per se. And I think when going back to the being as a team as well, when you're running a squad, there are going to be people who are lower levels, but they may have a specialty that makes them a valuable team member. I think that's what's going to make that unknown factor in squads of people really cool when you're fighting, because you, instead of just going out there and being like, well, just hit him with your strongest attacks, obviously, and someone's going to stand back and tank for us and do that same thing. It's a little we don't know exactly what they have in their arsenal, so we need to make sure that our strategy is solid and that we can defend ourselves if necessary, depending on what they bring out. Because in a real fight, if you haven't done your homework on that person, you don't know them, you don't know what they can bring to the table. I'm a pretty big dude and someone's short, I may laugh at them, but it'd be like if he pulls out jiu-jitsu and he kicks me in my face from point blank, it's like that's my fault. He knew something I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And so I think that kind of adds a really cool layer. That's never happened, if you guys are wondering. No, but that's a really cool layer to the game that I don't think a lot of games have. Well, I wouldn't say considered, but they definitely don't incorporate. That's for sure.
The Holy Trinity still exists too. I mean, if you choose to specialize in earth magic, you're obviously not going to be able to do a high level fire magic that
yeah
if you knew the spell, you looted a chest and you just lucked out on a freaking forbidden scroll of the Uchiha and you try to do a fire spell, it's not going to happen because you're an earth ninja. So there's still those gates that happen, but just being able to do the spells and seeing some kind of reaction, just it adds a little certain flair. Mm-hmm. That I think that just when seeing an error, a system error on the screen when you try to do it in other games, it just takes you.
Unreal Engine 4 has the best way of showing blueprint errors.
Bad.
It is the most. It's just bad, and a little red circle with a line through it, shame on you. I'm sorry, what? And it's on the object that you have the blueprint on. So whatever object has the blueprint just disappears and becomes that little bad sign.
When I first saw that bad sign, I don't know, it brought me back to Jurassic Park, and all I heard was Dennis going, you didn't say the magic word,
There you go. That's exactly what it was like. And I felt so insulted. I was like, what? I'm sorry. Did you just say my work is bad?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry. It was a very emotional moment for me.
I can imagine.
So this game will be on sale next month for $200.
Oh yeah, there we go. It would be bought. The Naru nerds.
What?
All of the Naru nerds.
She called you guys Naro nerds.
Naru nerds. I just made it up on the spot. I was trying to combine two words. But I had a lot of friends who were into Naruto, and I could never get into it. I'm very picky about my anime.
Yeah.
My animes.
I mean, I think that's the reason why. It's because you call them animus.
My animus. Oh, man. My animus.
Bear witness to this tangent that we're going on.
Oh, yes. All right. Perfect high concepts all around, I think.
Yeah, those are pretty good, guys. Like, I honestly, I'm sitting here like I wish that was on the
We'd
market.
play all of them. I'd still play the Ninja one too. It has good gameplay that I'd play.
And I would definitely, like, going back to what Mercenary said about your game, it does definitely sound like a PSN exclusive.
Yeah, like not even in a bad way. It's like I feel like it's of those qualities to where PlayStation was like, let's not give this to those other guys so we can be like, ha, look what we got. Like, I feel like it's one of those. It really
Like a niche
has that
title?
tone. Yeah, it really has that tone. That's really cool. Like, it kind of fit in a category of games, you know? Cause
If you guys
there
are
games that come
wondering,
out.
that was Monica sniffing shooting crack.
'Cause I was gonna
Whoa there!
but I was like, I don't know
Whoa
what
there!
that was.
I was breathing. Thank you very much. Some of us have asthma, and we can't breathe as quietly as y'all.
Okay, my little brother has asthma, and I don't think he's ever done that before. I'm just throwing it out there. He's had it for a while.
I've had asthma for a
And-
very long time. I also have a deviated septum. I think that's what it is, where your nose is just caved in on itself, and you breathe like.
I thought something totally different, so okay, cool. Glad you explained that.
I think that's what it's called. I might be misplacing one of the words.
I feel terrible.
Yeah, it's just where your nose, it's really close together. I have a really small nose, so there's not a whole lot of room for like air to go in, and so people hear me breathe.
I feel terrible.
I would say I do,
Oh,
but
can't
having
hear
a
you
brother
guys.
with asthma, I've made enough jokes related to that, so
There we go.
I don't feel as bad. I'll admit I've been a bully, but I was bullied.
Oh,
Well, I feel terrible because I made a crack joke.
yeah.
Well, judging by the
I
whole
was gonna pretend that didn't
deviated,
happen.
the whole deviated nose thing, and I don't know, crack kind of does.
Deviated septum.
Yeah, septum. There we go.
I don't think crack can give you that. It's a bone structure thing. You're kind of born with it, or maybe it's
Let's try
Maybelline.
it.
Maybe it's Maple. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to this episode of the EDM Gaming Podcast. I'm going to throw it to Dark and Squeebs, a.k.a. Fable Mercenary. I'll let you guys do your send-offs. Go for it.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in for this podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed looking into the minds of game designers and the programmer and all of that fun stuff. It was a lot of fun to do, as always, and just some of my favorite people right here. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Bet she wins tonight. I'm sorry. Joke victory goes to Monica. That was great. That was fantastic. Oh my gosh, yeah, and like I said, you guys can now catch me on Twitter. That's at KF_F Mercenary. So please add me. I don't know what I'm going to do on Twitter, but it's there now. You guys can definitely add me on that social media site. I have a Facebook page up eventually, and currently, like I said, you can search me on the Nexus mods for mods for Skyrim and Elder Scrolls and all that fun stuff under the name of Raw Champion. That's RAW Champion, all one word, no caps. And yeah, that is it for me as far as signing off. Been a great
Awesome.
one.
Alright, if you guys liked this episode, remember to thumbs up and subscribe to Darkovika where it gets released. And catch you guys later.
Goodbye.
Ta-ta!
Alright, good job, guys.
Woo!
We did it.
I'm still recording.
We did it.
We did it. We did it, guys. We did it.
I just always thought it would be fun to play in that universe and see your character doing the hand signs, and if you mess up, like he just goes, "Blah, I messed up." Like if you I don't know if it happened in the first episode of Naruto. You must have seen it, Monica, where
Is she even here anymore?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm listening.
where Naruto I don't know if that's in the first episode or if it's in a preceding episode, but he's like taking the ninja exam and he's required to do a henge, which is a transformation technique, and
He turns into the naked girl.
he's supposed to do a clone, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
the clone
transform it.
the clone's like a derp.
Yeah, it's just like a puddle of him of his image, like a puddle, just
Like, hilarious.
And that's what I was like imagining as like if you mess up, and it's not perfect, you're gonna get some kind of result, and any kind of result is better than cannot do that ability. It's just like
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It'd be great to do like a clone ability and then like a derp shows up. And it's just like, well, I tried. Well, before I leave, I wanted to point out, you know how we were planning on going on doing that sort of noobish paranormal investigation?
Right.
It would technically be totally possible for that to be an EDM podcast episode.
Holy crap,
Yes.
she's right.
Because it would have the three of us.
was that your gamegasm sound?
No, my game. My gamegasm sound is bleep, and it's loud and it's obnoxious. And when I do it, like when it's full on, it's
Sound that Hank Hill makes? Buh.
that's,
Whoa.
yeah, it's boo. That's Hank Hill. That sounds hardcore.
We could do obviously we're gonna have our cameras on us and just
Hell yeah.
be kind of
I'll record the whole thing.
filming for evidence and filming each other being all like stupid, and
All
then
derpy and shoes.
we could we just it's a good chance for people to meet us
In person, see
in
what I look like.
person and
That'd be cool.
see the real black mercenary. See the real Black Hood. This is the Black Hood, everybody.
I don't think
Hey,
anyone...
man.
Welcome to the ETM podcast.
Welcome to my video. We are going to play video game now. It's Ori. It's Ori who plays in Blind Forest. I don't know why Forest is blind, but I fix it. This way we here. We fix now.
Welcome to this video. I don't know how I record this. This is this is new technology for me. So
This is crazy. Look at this OBS. I don't even know what stands for. OBS probably means oh bullshit.
oh, I'm still recording. This is awesome.
I
Would probably be more.
It could either be Russian or I could be relatively convincingly British.
And
Can you do an Indian accent?
No.
dude?
That is my
One of my
guilty
friends.
pleasure.
My friends is like, hey, I could do an Indian accent. I was like, do it. He just goes, oh, dot, 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 dot. I'm like, that's not an Indian accent.
Hello. Welcome to calling the number that you have reached. My name is Shahol. I'd like to help you with your problem.
No.
I don't even know what the fuck accent that turned into.
They have fully white American names. It's like, hello,
Hello.
hello, thank you for
calling.
thank you
My
for
name is
calling.
Mark.
Thank you for calling T-Mobile. This is David Hernandez. The weather is nice in California today. Please tell me about your problems.
Tell me about your wife. How is your wife? I hear she is very beautiful. Yes, she has big boobs. Yes, I hear. Okay, that is nice.
Oh my gosh.
Hello, thank you for calling. My name is Mark. Boobs are very in today, aren't they?
I was going to say I have a terrible guilty pleasure of laughing at Indian accents. I can't.
My favorite thing to do in an Indian accent is barter.
Oh my gosh.
I'll always like.
No.
No. I cannot give this to you for this much price. I need. Look, listen. I will sell this to you
For one cow.
for $2. That's the rock bottom price. I cannot negotiate any further. That's the rock bottom price. And that's my favorite thing to say in the Indian accent is rock bottom price.
Oh my god.
Listen, $1.50. That's the rock bottom. That's the last deal.
Funtabulous.
My villain is
Yes,
British.
it's very funtabulous. His word, yes, his English word, funtabulous. I speak fantastic English.
My villainous British is Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
Loki?
Because what else could you possibly say other than to be Loki? When do we start? You know.
Does that mean I'm looking for Loki?
Huh?
I'm looking for Loki.
If you don't hear me in the next 2 seconds, I've walked out.
Like you won earlier with your.
I'm sorry. I tried to be a little low key about that one.
Oh, Jesus. Things are looking...
A little low.
Okay, this episode is definitely having a blooper reel.
Oh, one might say there's a stark difference there. Just gonna start throwing adventures out.
How marvelous! Couldn't help myself.
Oh, you guys are gonna make me a Black Widow.
Okay.
hell?
How on earth would we do that?
I don't know. I was trying to find a way to put Black Widow there. I don't know what's her name.
Scarlet? Natasha?
Scarlett Johansson.
Natasha
She
Romanoff?
plays whatever. I think she's called Black Widow or something. I don't know.
No, you got the name right. It's just
Oh, that was funny. They're funnier when they have no purpose there. I should be bannered from puns.
Bannered?
Banner?
Oh, fuck me.
Why did you ask her? I totally caught that. I was like, if no one laughs, it won't be funny. And you're sitting, way to go, Peter. Best reaction ever. Oh, fuck me. Great.
If she laughs even more, she's gonna Thor herself apart.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, that's a way to Hulk up.
I'm waiting to see if she's going to throw Captain America in there.
I'm trying to find one. Oh,
Well, if you
goodness.
can't find one, you obviously don't have the Hawkeye.
Be careful, you're going to make him furious. Ah!
The freaking laugh! Ah!
Because I don't find my puns funny. They're terrible. I just go, like I disgust myself when I say it.
Guess you're trying to shield yourself.
I was trying not.